Episode 4 From Post-War Machines to Silicon Valley. After World War II, the 1950s opened a new chapter in technology. At Britain's Bletchley Park, mathematician Alan Turing had already proven what machines could do, designing code breakers that cracked Nazi ciphers and laying the foundations of computer science. But in those early decades, computers were still viewed mainly as oversized calculators. Massive, expensive machines meant only for governments, corporations, and universities. By the 1960s, the U.S. government pushed to connect these isolated giants. With Cold War funding, researchers built ARPANET, the first experimental network. On October 29, 1969, a UCLA student attempted to log in remotely to a Stanford computer. The system crashed after just two letters, L and O. That tiny hiccup became historic, the first message ever sent between two computers. Just 2 years later, in 1971, engineer Ray Tomlinson sent the world's first email across ARPANET. To make it work, he chose the @ symbol to separate the user from the host computer, a small choice that unlocked global communication. For the first time, messages flowed instantly across universities, long before email reached the public. Meanwhile, outside the government labs, a very different scene was unfolding. In garages, basements, and electronics shops like Hobby Shack, hobbyists were soldering boards, wiring circuits, and imagining something bigger. Computers not just as machines for math, but as tools people could actually use at home. That tinkering spirit collided with the energy of Silicon Valley in the mid-1970s. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak built the Apple I in a garage, shrinking computing power into something personal. At the same time, Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded Microsoft, betting that software would be just as important as the machines themselves. By the early 1980s, those visions became reality. IBM entered the personal computer market, bringing its massive reputation and resources to bear. Their IBM PC, running Microsoft DOS, quickly became the gold standard. But unlike IBM's proprietary hardware, DOS was designed to be neutral and compatible, so it could run on other manufacturers' machines as well. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Episode 5, The 80s, IBM Clone Wars and Gaming Console. Phase 1, the 1980s, opened with two parallel revolutions, one in the office and one in the living room. In 1981, IBM entered the personal computer market with the IBM PC, a machine that didn't try to reinvent the wheel, but instead used off-the-shelf parts and licensed Microsoft's DOS as its operating system. That decision changed everything, because it meant that other companies could build machines that were IBM compatible. Suddenly, new players like Compaq and Dell rushed in with cheaper, faster clones, sparking what became known as the IBM Clone Wars. For a time, DOS acted as a neutral middle ground, ensuring compatibility across brands, but the very openness of IBM's design meant the company was quickly outflanked by competitors who moved faster and sold more. Meanwhile, in homes across America, a different kind of machine was shaping culture: the Atari 2600. Its interchangeable cartridges made gaming a household activity for the first time, but the market quickly flooded with low-quality titles, culminating in disasters like the infamous ET cartridge. The result was the video game crash of 1983, when retailers lost faith, and it seemed as though home gaming might disappear entirely. Then, in 1985, Nintendo arrived with the NES, a console that not only revived the industry but redefined it. With the Nintendo seal of quality, strict licensing rules, and groundbreaking titles like Super Mario Bros., Zelda, and Metroid, the NES restored trust and cemented gaming as a cultural force. By the end of the decade, the stage was set for Phase 1 of the console wars, Nintendo versus Sega, with Atari fading into history. While in the world of computing, IBM's once dominant PC was becoming just another player in a growing field of clones. The 80s, then, were a decade of divergence. Computers claimed the desk, consoles claimed the living room, and together they laid the foundation for the battles of the 90s, from Windows' rise to the 16-bit console wars. Between 1990 and 1995, computers and consoles raced forward together, side by side, changing the way we played, worked, and connected. On the PC side, VGA and SVGA graphics take over, moving from 640 by 480 resolution to 800 by 600, with support for 256 colors. At the same time, the old 640 kilobyte memory limit, once thought to be enough for anyone, is finally being broken. PCs expand into megabytes of RAM, unlocking far more powerful software. IBM's once iron grip on the PC market started to slip as Compaq, Dell, and Gateway rose to power. In 1992, Microsoft launched Windows 3.1, making the graphical desktop more common in homes and offices. Meanwhile, in the living room, the 16-bit console wars raged on. Sega's Genesis went head-to-head with Nintendo's Super NES, Sonic vs. Mario. By 1993, PCs were making a leap forward. Windows NT appeared for businesses, and for gamers, the first dedicated 3D accelerator cards began to emerge. In 1995, Microsoft dropped Windows 95, complete with the Start button, taskbar, plug-and-play hardware, and built-in Internet Explorer. It wasn't just software. It was a cultural event. At the same time, the console landscape was about to change forever. Sony entered the arena with the PlayStation in 1994 in Japan and 1995 worldwide. CD-ROMs replaced cartridges, allowing bigger games, cinematic cutscenes, and full 3D graphics. Sega tried to compete with the Saturn, but its complex hardware slowed developers down.